Hey amazing parents, it's Dr. Lindsay here with this week's psychology-based parenting tips titled Mindful Parenting: How Developmental Stages Impact Your Parent-Child Dynamic. Do you want to know why I love talking to parents about stage theories in the psychology of human development? It's because knowledge of the various stages that children progress through can alleviate so many worries and fears that amazing parents inevitably feel as they monitor their child's development. Throughout the years, different theorists from the field of psychology and related fields have proposed theories on how humans develop, with particular attention paid to the early years. Many of these theories suggest that children progress through a series of stages, with clear milestones achieved at each stage. Now, some of the most well-known stage theorists include Jean Piaget's theory of cognitive development, Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral development, and Erik Erikson's psychosocial development theory. In today's episode, I'll give you a fun and practical example from Piaget's work that will ring true to everyone who's raised a child through infancy. Keep listening to learn how basic knowledge of developmental stage theories can produce a simple mindset shift that can dramatically improve your parent-child dynamic. So let's start by talking about the fascinating case of Piaget's object permanence. Now, parents don't need to understand every intricacy of these theories to be able to benefit from knowing about them. For example, understanding the difference between the 6 sensory motor substages of Piaget's theory is primarily of interest to researchers, not parents. However, there are elements within each of these theories that parents often find fascinating and tremendously helpful. So let's take a closer look at one such element: object permanence. Did you know that in their first 2 years of life, children's brains develop the ability to understand that objects exist permanently and they have a location, so even if they can't be seen, they exist? Before 4 months of age, if you hide a toy behind your back, your baby will think it has completely disappeared and no longer exists. Out of sight, out of mind. But a 2-year-old knows how to find that object. You're not tricking them. Here's where it gets interesting. As children grow, there are increasing levels of complexity in the development of object permanence. They progress from simply believing the toy to be gone when they put it behind your back, to looking for the toy, looking around you to see where has that toy gone, to looking behind you, and if they don't see the toy, looking further back to see where it has rolled, knowing that it must be somewhere back there. Full object permanence typically develops by age 2, so there's about a year and a half with only partial understanding of the permanent nature of objects in their environment. Being aware of these stages can make parenting a fascinating journey of exploration. It also provides parents with tricks they can use along the way. So for example, when there's a shiny object that your infant keeps trying to touch, but you don't want them to have, simply hide it. They'll shortly forget that it ever existed. Okay, now let's talk about the value of different developmental stage theories. So there are indeed fascinating elements to other developmental stage theories as well. For example, learning about Lawrence Kohlberg's stages of moral development can help parents feel patience rather than frustration when their children experiment with lying. It is through exposure to a variety of social interactions and experiences that children develop moral reasoning and an understanding of what is acceptable human behavior. What is morally right or wrong is not always black and white, and sometimes bending a rule is the most appropriate choice. Understanding that lying behavior is part of a child's moral development can help parents guide their children towards making more ethical choices without judgment or concern. Similarly, Erik Erikson's psychosocial theory of development can help parents feel empathy rather than irritation during the terrible twos years when children are seeking autonomy, or during the identity crisis and role confusion typical of adolescence. Recognizing that these stages are a normal part of a child's social and emotional development can help parents navigate these challenging phases with understanding and support. In future episodes, I'll delve deeper into these topics and explore how they can be applied in parenting every day. I also review stage theories in more depth in my upcoming course, Parent Like a Pro, which teaches my 5 C's parenting framework to help parents load their parenting toolbox with effective parenting strategies. You can see Check Yourself, Are You an Intentional Parent? At parentingwithpsychology.com/blog/35 to learn more about the 5 C's. Next up, There's no rush to progress through the stages. So it's important to note that these stages don't need to be rushed. Some developmental theorists emphasize that the stages must be completed in hierarchical order, meaning that a child must successfully master one stage before moving on to the next. Others warn that not fully completing a stage may lead to future problems with emotion or behavior. There aren't any theories of human development that say kids will have a better outcome the faster they progress through the stages. It's essential to remember that every child is unique and may progress through the stages at their own pace. The key is to provide a supportive and nurturing environment that allows them to explore and grow within each stage. Trust that they will reach their developmental milestones. And if you have any concerns, absolutely check with your child's pediatrician, but rest assured that most kids are on the right path to be where they need to be at landmark ages, such as starting kindergarten at age 5, transitioning to middle school or junior high around age 11, and ultimately spreading their wings at age 18. I saw a post on social media recently for an infant walking device that holds a child in an upright position, supporting them at their armpits rather than by the wrist or the forearm. While there absolutely are orthopedic injuries that can result from pulling a young child's arm, baby walk training devices are not the solution to that problem. Kids develop at their own pace and don't need to be rushed into walking. Instead, praise them for their current developmental milestones by clapping when you see them pull to a stand or when they're standing on their own at a table. You can motivate them to walk by sitting a couple feet away, holding out your arms, and warmly encouraging them to come to you. Parenting doesn't need to involve a lot of devices or time pressure. It's a very natural process. Okay, parents, here's the take-home message for this episode. Parenting can be challenging on a day-to-day basis, but by empowering ourselves with knowledge of developmental stage theories, we can adjust our parenting perspective and improve our parent-child dynamic. Understanding these stages helps us recognize that certain behaviors are typical for your child's developmental stage, allowing us to respond with patience and understanding. It allows you to appreciate the unique journey your child is on and provides insight into their evolving abilities and needs. So embrace the wonder of these stages and enjoy the incredible adventure of parenting. This week, if you have a moment when your child's struggling and their behavior is difficult for you to tolerate, take a moment to think about whether it's typical behavior for their developmental stage. Rest assured knowing that these stages are a normal part of the developmental process that will help your child reach their full potential. You have time to guide them to where they need to be at each stage, so try supporting them where they're at now. Together, we can navigate this journey of parenting with confidence and joy. Understanding the impact of developmental stages on your parent-child dynamic is part of the choices and checkpoints category of my 5 C's parenting framework. Go to parentingwithpsychology.com/blog/35 to learn more about the 5 C's. And to find more episodes in this category, go to the show notes for today's episode at parentingwithpsychology.com/blog/46 and use the category search menu on the right of your screen. Oh, and learning about developmental stages and how they affect your daily interactions with your child is amazing parenting. Continue your amazing parenting journey with me in my free boot camps at parentingwithpsychology.com/bootcamps. I look forward to educating and empowering your parenting practice. Okay, amazing parents, that wraps up today's episode. Thanks for being here, everyone. Join me next week to learn how to be warm and loving with your child while also managing any behavioral issues that need to be managed. Until then, keep up the good work on your amazing parenting journey. You can follow Parenting with Psychology and sign up to receive my weekly newsletter at parentingwithpsychology.com/tips to be sure you don't miss any of my new tips. My weekly tips are available to read on my website, to listen to on your favorite podcast player, or to watch on YouTube. If you'd like to connect with me more regularly and join the Parenting with Psychology community, follow Parenting with Psychology on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. It would mean the world to me if you would take a moment to rate and review this episode to help it become more visible to other parents. And finally, a quick legal disclaimer. Please note that the advice provided in this episode is different than therapy and does not serve as a substitute for professional psychological treatment or other types of professional advice or intervention. If you or your child have concerns or need further parenting or personal support, please contact a physician or other qualified local health professional. See you next week, amazing parents.